That fear is there for a reason, you know. That just goes to show how much you actually want it and how important it is to you. And if it is that important that you're scared of it, that you want it to be so good, like you owe it to yourself to see that through.
Hi, everyone. My name is Priscilla Piper, and welcome to the Decision to Dance podcast. Today's guest is Cyd Mag-aso, who is based in Queens, New York, and is a registered nurse. In this episode, we learn how Cyd got started as a dancer, as well as the resources that were utilized, including the body language retreat with Liana Blackburn, as well as the Galen Hooks Method classes and intensives. This episode is going to really benefit anybody who has taken some type of a hiatus away from dance and wanted to come back to themselves and return to something that they've loved their entire life. And for anybody that needs some advice on what to do if you're too scared to return to the thing that you love, you'll get a good little nudge from this episode. So before we get into it, please make sure you give us a follow and give us a rating. Let us know how we are doing. Let us know what you're liking, what we could potentially change, what we could provide more of or less of. Let us know because we're figuring it out as we go, and we would love to get any feedback that you all have. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you all as always. So let's go ahead and get into today's episode. You have mentioned in your social media posts that people used to say, I danced my way out of the womb. So take us back to that beginning time of how you began dancing and why people would say that.
So my mother was actually a dancer, not in like a professional sense, born in the Philippines, and it's a very big part of our culture, the arts, like music, dance, and everything. And she danced a lot in college, and it's something I guess that she was known for, and I guess she passed it on to me, and something I, just inherently kind of naturally got drawn to, and people took notice, I guess. And one of the dance companies that I was in, it was like a Filipino folk dancing company. One of the directors, um, I can't even remember what the conversation was. I think we were like working on our bios or something.
So when was this?
Oh God, this was years ago when I was probably in high school, um, early college. We were talking about like our bios, and he said, "Oh yeah, Cyd's been dancing all her life." She basically danced her way out of her mother's womb. There's always been stories from my family members of me just randomly getting up on a stage or like in the middle of a dance floor in a party and just like moving
Moving
around, like
around.
not
Yeah.
being prompted. Yeah.
I love that. I wanted to bring that up because I think, everyone has a different story of how they got started into
Yeah.
dance, but I think it's so cool when you just start from the beginning and kind of can't even pinpoint a time of when you started because you
Yeah.
started so young.
Hmm.
And I think it's so cool that your mother was a dancer and probably passed along those genes and that interest to you as well. So I think that's really a beautiful way to get started as a dancer and kind of reminds you of how natural it is to be a dancer. You just move to music, and it's something that we start doing at a very young age. Um, you also mentioned that you got your music interest from your dad. Can you talk about that a little bit as well?
He plays the guitar, he plays the piano, like all sorts of things, and he sings. Um, so that's I guess it goes hand in hand with dance too, just that kind of musicality, I guess. So I was lucky enough to kind of get half and half. I try to embody those two things that they gave me. So I got music for my dad and dance for my mom.
That's so cool, and to be able
Yeah.
to share that with your family and have that be a part of your culture. It just really creates who you are as an individual, no matter what you're doing in your day to day. That is who you are, at the end of the day. So I love all of that, and I know that you are a registered nurse. Can you talk about what type of nursing you do and what made you decide to get into it?
I am a NICU nurse, neonatal ICU. So I work with premature babies or just very sick, teeny tiny humans. I got into nursing because as artistic as my parents were growing up, it's still very much in our culture, very Asian that you have to find a stable job. Um, and stability is very important, financial security and things like that. And while I really wanted to pursue a career in the performing arts growing up, life just happened and I made certain decisions. I got into a relationship and was thinking about our future and things like that. So I felt like I had to make the more quote unquote responsible choice, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, the more adult choice,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of choose the more practical.
I think also too when you're at a young age and out of high school and early 20s, it's hard to make a decision of what you want to do for the rest of your life, and it makes sense to take that more practical route, like many people do. But then I think for those who had an interest in the arts at some point in time, I think many people are figuring out a little bit later, like, oh, I still love this thing and I want it to be a part of my life, even if it's not necessarily professional, or maybe it is, but then finding a way to have it back into your life after taking that more practical route. But what you do, I feel like, is so important, and I'm sure is a very taxing and challenging job at some points, or many, many points. Can you talk about how being a nurse, and can you talk about maybe one thing that you've learned within your work as a nurse, how that has made an impact on your dancing?
No, oh,
I know that's kind of like a heavy
that's a
question.
good question. It is a heavy question.
Doesn't
I'm
have to be
like,
heavy if you don't want it to
I'm
be.
trying to think how heavy I should go
That's
here.
totally up to
I
you.
mean, I think just, I didn't always work with babies. I worked on the adult side too. So I think just seeing people at their most vulnerable moments, and just kind of knowing how your health can impact the things you can do in life, and just how quickly life can change in an instant. It gives you perspective on the things that matter. I mean, it's easy to say that now, I guess, but most days you're kind of just thinking about surviving and just getting to the next day.
Yeah.
Um, but there are those moments at work where you're like, I need to appreciate what I have and what I could do with my time.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like the more people you're around, and especially when you're in a situation like that, because we have our one side and one perspective and one view of the world, but there's so many other people that have different views of life
Hmm.
and the world. And anytime I speak with or just engage with somebody who has lived a different life experience and who has been through challenges that I haven't been through, it always puts things into perspective. And I think that's a great point of utilizing the time that you have and the health that you have to do what you love, because you don't know what's going to happen, what the
Exactly.
future holds for any of us. So that was, I think, just deep enough. I'm sure you could go even deeper, but that's really good perspective. And and so I know you did the body language retreat in Bali in 2023 with Liana Blackburn. And I'm not sure how much you can share about that experience, but can you talk about that experience a little bit and what made you decide to sign up?
Yeah, so I actually signed up because of another Galen Hooks alumni,
Oh, really?
Nandini. I don't know if you've met her. I'm pretty sure you've met her.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, I'm
Uh-huh.
pretty
Well,
sure you know her.
virtually, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I met her, I think, during one of the Galen Hooks checkups or something like that. Um, and I think she was in game plan too with us. But
Yes, yeah.
yeah, so we had kept in touch, and she kind of brought it to my attention. It's like we should totally do this. Like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's just manifest this. We'll
Uh-huh.
figure out how we'll pay for it later.
Uh-huh. Just sign
Let's
up and
just
figure it
sign
out.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I initially thought that it was a dance retreat, um, where it was just going to be like heels and like workshops and all this stuff. And it was not that at
Mm-hmm.
all. It was more, I don't even know how to describe it. It was a lot of like spiritual release and emotional release,
Mm.
if anything. Um, there was dance in the end, and there was a lot of like body movement, and like it was almost like somatic therapy kind of
Mm-hmm.
um that was involved, and it was a very like healing and cathartic experience, I have to say. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 recommend for sure. If she does it again, I would
Yeah.
encourage anyone to do it,
So
dancer or not.
how did you feel going into it, and what did you take with you coming out of it?
I was of course nervous at first because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not as good as a dancer as I used to be. I my ankles are weak. I don't, I can't dance. Like, all the like little insecure stuff that
Mm-hmm.
just like flows through our heads,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of, whatever the situation is. But I was terrified. And then just going in and meeting all the other women that were there, it helped you feel, um, more seen, I guess. Cause like we were saying earlier, like you listen to other people's stories and like other people's, points of view and like whatever their experiences are from, even though they could be so different from yours, you're still somehow connected by it. And that was very grounding too. It's like we're all different, but we're all like still somehow the same,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like just having that one thing too that connects us, like dancing
Yeah.
connects us all.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Having that connection with people that you think you don't have anything in common with, but you realize
Exactly.
that there is something, and maybe even more than just the one thing.
Yeah.
But how dance really, I think, connects so many of us, and we don't
Yeah.
even realize it sometimes until we engage with somebody we didn't know. So
Hmm.
that's so beautiful. Is that something that
Yeah.
you have like seen in your day-to-day life since then? Like, is that something you think about a little bit more after coming out of that and going back into your everyday life?
I think so. I mean, I've always been kind of more on the spiritual side to begin with, but it definitely, I think it helped me release a lot of emotional blocks that I had, especially in terms of dance, because a lot of my issues and why I kind of stopped dancing for such a long time was just that I kind of made myself feel like I had to hide in a way, or like dim whatever light I had and make myself smaller. And that retreat, that whole experience just um kind of opened up those doors even more. Like Galen was the start of it, but like this kind of just helped crack it open a little bit
Yeah,
wider to know
continue
that like,
that.
yeah, like it's okay to open yourself up to that. It's okay not to hide.
Mm-hmm.
um, and to not be so afraid. It's still very deeply ingrained in me that it's like hard to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
It's like giving you that
I
permission.
gives me that permission, and I'm more aware of it now,
Mm.
that that fear is there and that
Mm-hmm.
instinct is there to like make myself smaller, but like reminding myself that it's okay to break out of it and that I should.
Yeah, that you should and that you've done it before, and so you can do it
Yes,
again. And honestly, just
exactly.
having an awareness of anything, I think, is like the hardest step and the biggest step. And you
Yeah,
always will have that in your back pocket
yeah.
if you're ever in a situation where you do feel like you want to become smaller. It's like, no, I know I'm capable of showing more of who I am,
Mhm.
and I've done it in the past. And I know that I can do this, even if this is something that I struggle with. So that is so beautiful. I am curious if
Yeah.
she's going to do more in the future. I'm not sure, but thank you for sharing that because I saw
Yeah.
that online and was curious about the experience. So, like, what a beautiful thing that you took away from it. So, we are obviously talking a little bit about Galen Hooks and the Galen Hooks Method, which is how we met virtually and then we were able to meet in person. Can you talk a little bit about just when you took your first GHM intensive and what intensives you have done?
My first intensive was the GHM Classic. I think it was 2019. I was like fresh out of a breakup. I was like completely distraught. My whole like world had just crumbled. I was in a very long-term relationship. Um, and I was just trying to find a way to breathe, I guess, because it
Mm-hmm.
feels like you're drowning, when
Mm-hmm.
you're like after a significant relationship ends, you just feel like you need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured the easiest way to do it was to go back to what used to make me feel good. So I was like, maybe this is a good time to kind of step back into that because I gave it up because not entirely, but partly because of the relationship. Yeah, I did the classic. It was such a raw emotional state that I was in. It was me and like a few other girls. We were just like hot messes, just bawling our eyes out the entire session. I'm sure Galen was probably like, "What in the world is happening?" She would never say it.
Oh, you
Like,
all
it
were
was
going
just
through something
we
together.
were we were all going through it. I have no idea what was in the water for some of us. But yeah, I was such an emotional mess, but it just felt so good to like, again, be around that, around different types of women in different phases of life, um, and different stages um, of where they were in their dance career or just like experience. And yeah, just feeling that connectedness again and like, oh, okay, I miss this community. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like it's like the shared human experience and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was really beautiful. As
Yeah.
emotionally wrecked as I was, it
Sometimes
was
you
like,
gotta go through those
listen,
the
and
deep end to come out on the other side.
and I swear, for some reason, I swear, every single night of dance that I go to with Galen, I always end up
Oh my
crying.
God.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
so
that's a
Galen
good
always
thing
pulls it out.
though. I know. That I feel like that's such
Yeah,
a good thing though because you need that space to be able to do that. And so often
yeah,
we're not in spaces where that's okay and normalized and I mean, I guess appropriate depending on what you're doing. But I feel like in dance it's like okay, I can like release right now
yeah,
and release my emotions and I feel like that's something so special that dance provides and I mean, I get emotional when I watch other people dance sometimes and like I'm on the side and I'm like,
same.
"Oh my God, get it together." Like,
Yeah,
what's wrong with me? But I love watching other people and it makes me
yeah,
emotional. Um
same,
and so
same.
just that alone, it's like it feels kind of silly and maybe a little embarrassing, but it's like, well, that's just who I am and how I am.
Yeah,
But how beautiful that dance can bring that out of us
exactly. And how
and
powerful it can be that it can pull such like strong emotions out of you,
yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
So I relate to that, and I know you're not alone at all. So what about those intensives and classes would make you recommend them to somebody?
Classic for sure. I think I feel like even non-dancers would benefit from it as well. It just um Galen's really good about kind of providing a space that makes you as comfortable as possible. Um, I think for me, I just get in my own head, that it's hard for me to pull myself out of that. But I think for the most part, she like makes it so easy for you to just play and not just think so much about, am I doing this right? Like am I being technical about this and blah blah blah. Like she gives you permission to just be. Um, and I think GHM Classic was really good at that. Um, and kind of just getting you back into like remembering that dance is supposed to be fun. Like it doesn't have to be this hard, stressful thing,
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm always constantly stressed
Yeah,
about it.
gotta have that
Um,
reminder.
yeah. So it's good for that. And like, if you're ever curious about dance, I think that's a good way to start too, to try to explore it and like just how much fun it can be. And it doesn't have to be stressful. Um, when we did game plan, I would recommend that for people that are, trying to pursue it professionally, obviously. That's what it's meant for. She had some really good insights and stuff about what you need to focus on if you really want to pursue this and like take it seriously.
Yeah, and I know now she has the GHM on demand version of that, the game plan like course
Mm.
instead of the
Hmm.
intensive, which I think is pretty cool because anybody can access it
Yeah.
and you can take that information with you forever. And it's funny because the reason I signed up for that, so it was, middle of the pandemic. And what else was I doing with my time really? But when I saw that she had announced she was doing game plan digitally, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity that I can take this from home. I don't have to lug around my luggage. I don't have to pay for flights and Airbnb and all of that." And I was like, if there's a 1% chance of me wanting to pursue a career in dance, then this will have been worth it. So I took it because it was digital, and I think it's cool that she has that availability now for everybody so that you can just take the course in the comfort of your own home
Yes.
and bring it with you wherever. So, you talked a little bit about how dance has kind of changed for you throughout the course of your life. And for me, that has also been the case where it's ebb and flowed. I was very consistent in it and then just completely shut it out and then returned to it years ago. So, can you talk about what dance has looked like in your life throughout the years?
I didn't technically start taking classes until I was maybe in like the fifth grade, like fourth or fifth grade. Um, and I think for some people that's considered like a late start. Or like traditionally it's a later start. But there was a program in New York City with the Department of Education. I think they're called Ballet Tech now. It was called something else when I was younger. I'm aging myself a little bit.
It's okay.
But the it was a program where like you get pulled out of school for like half a day, like once or twice a week, and you
Hmm.
take ballet classes. Um,
Very cool.
yeah, it was really cool, and like you kind of get selected out of like um it's like a certain amount of students get selected to be in the program, and I was doing that for a few years, and I was like, oh, okay, this is really cool, and
Yeah. What a
I
great
was
way to
lucky
spend your
enough,
time and
right?
not be in
not
school.
not be in school, just get pulled out for half a day. That was like
Yeah. What
that
a
was
dream.
great. Yeah, it was so cool, and I was like, Um, and that was the thing too, because it felt like I was chosen for something. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Dance chose me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then I was lucky enough to have like free programs in school. Like in middle school, there was a dance program, so I was heavily involved in that. And like basically, you would be in like a selected group if you were like if you showed like more interest than like a typical student would in dance. So you would like stay longer after school or come in early after school, before school. um so in middle school I had that, and then in high school it's a little bit different. In New York City you kind of apply to high schools as if you were going to college.
Mm,
um so you have like a whole like selection of schools that you can go to, and there's several dance programs in it throughout the city in high schools. So I auditioned for LaGuardia, Professional Performing Arts School, and like a whole bunch of dance programs. Yeah, it was basically free dance education in school. And again, very heavily involved in that. I would come into school early to dance and stay even a few hours later. Like that was my after school program, and my
mm-hmm.
parents didn't have to pay for it. So
Yeah,
like,
gosh, incredible. Dance is so
so that was
expensive, so
great.
to have that is
Exactly. But yeah, I didn't have that kind of experience where like I was in an outside dance studio where my parents had to like pay for all that and like pay for costumes and all those things.
Mhm.
I wasn't in the dance competition scene. Like I didn't even know that was a thing
Yeah.
growing up.
Honestly, good
Um,
for you.
yeah, I
There's
didn't
pros and cons,
realize.
but I feel like that's not a
Yeah,
bad
and
thing.
yeah, so that was me from like elementary to high school. And um during the high school times, I was in a Filipino folk dancing group. And then my one of my dance teachers in high school started her own company, very Martha Graham influenced, and she had asked me to be a part of it when right before I graduated, and so I was with her for a few years. My dancing slowly like died down, like I said, because I got into a relationship and I was like, there was a lot of pressure from my parents, not explicitly said so, like,
Mhm. Mhm.
dance is a hobby.
Yeah.
You need to think about your future
Mhm.
and X, Y, and Z. So,
Mhm.
um, slowly my dancing died down. And like I said, decisions were made, um, that, I have to own up to and live with. That, life happens. So,
Yeah, totally. And so how did you get back into dance? So it was taking the Galen Hooks Method intensive, right?
yes,
Okay.
I mean, I'd taken like a few dance classes here and there, like maybe like once or twice a year.
Mhm.
But it was like a long time before I like seriously started looking back into dance. I think it was like 10 years.
Mm.
Um, that I was like, you know what, I need to do this for myself again.
Mhm.
Um, like I said, end of the relationship, I needed to find my way back.
Yeah. Find
So,
your way back to yourself.
yeah, so Galen's classic intensive was like the start, like I
Mhm.
think the official start of when
Yeah.
I tried to start pursuing it again. And it was kind of nice, because I really tried to dive in. I like went part-time with nursing so I
Mhm.
can like really immerse myself into it. I started taking acting classes, I was taking voice lessons, then pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So like things really shut down and everything went virtual. So
Mhm.
although there were pros for that too. Like you said, the game plan being virtual
Mhm.
was really nice because people had access to things, and um even the online classes that a whole bunch of like dance instructors and choreographers were doing were nice because you like, you didn't have to go fly anywhere.
Mhm.
Um, you could just do it in your living room. And that was great. So that's what it's kind of been the past few years. I'm kind of taking a hiatus right now just because I have um other priorities in terms of like health stuff that I have to slow it down a little bit.
Mhm.
If I want to pursue this, I want to attack it with everything I have, and I just can't do that right now.
Yeah.
Um so I'm just taking my little baby steps and making sure I try to stay at in the best shape that I can
Yeah.
to try to do it when I do have the time and the energy
Yeah.
to dive back in.
Yeah, I feel like the baby step thing is a little bit underestimated. I feel like in the
Hmm.
dance world, people are like, you gotta go all in and all this, and there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. And to an extent, that's correct. But I also feel like if you are somebody where you're in a point in your life where you have other things you have to prioritize and you don't really have a
exactly.
choice, then taking the baby steps where you can, eventually that over time, baby steps add into something huge. And
Exactly.
I think people forget that. So
Hmm.
I think that's really good that you have that awareness and you know that you got to take care of yourself if you want to
Yeah.
attack it later on, because dance is all encompassing and you want to be at your best and the best that you can be,
Hmm.
especially with your health, because dance is so physical and mental as well.
Yeah.
Um, and so if if you met somebody that was thinking about coming back into dance, who had had dance in their life before, but they were thinking about it, but they're really scared and intimidated, and dance is so different from what they were used to growing up, all of these things. What is something that you would tell that person?
Just do it. There's nothing to be scared of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just that fear is just that voice in your head. And that's all it is. And you're gonna feel so much better when you do actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think people know that on some subconscious level, but they just let the negative thoughts win. So
Yeah.
I think just try to shut those thoughts out, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think the more that I live and the more that I do things that I'm scared of, the more I'm like, "Oh, I can do that even though I'm scared and I
Yeah.
don't want to. I know
Yeah.
I'm going to do it and it's going to be okay because I've had other situations in the past where I've done the same thing." But I think it can really overtake some people and prevent them from doing
Yeah.
the things that they love or want to do or need to do because whatever the fear is, fear of judgment, fear of
Yeah.
failure, whatever the case may be. So I think that's honestly the most like upfront thing you can say, because
Yeah.
if you just do it, then you're going to know that you can do it and just keep doing it too. Take that first step, which
Yeah.
is the hardest step, and then just keep going back because it's still going to be hard, maybe depending on where
Yeah,
you're
for
at, but
sure.
keep going. And over time, with those baby steps, you'll see a
Exactly.
difference.
Yeah. And that fear is there for a reason, you know. That just goes to show how much you actually want it
Yeah.
and how important it is to you. And if it is that important that you're scared of it, that you want it to be so good, like you owe it to yourself
Hmm.
to kind of see that through.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It's like you deserve it. You deserve
yeah.
to do what you love. And I see it from that perspective of like I deserve it. I need this rather than like something that's hard and difficult
Yeah.
and challenging. It's like, oh, like this is going to fuel you. It's going to
Hmm.
positively impact you. So
Yeah.
just let it do it rather than it being something negative. So
Yeah.
I 100% agree with all of that. Now that you have lived some life, like all of us, the more life you live, the more perspective you have on everything. So how has knowing what you know now, how has dance made an impact on your life as a whole?
It's my emotional release. It's my release for everything. Just watching people dance and me just moving on my own, it works out a lot of issues and stuff that I can't say out loud,
Mhm.
I think. In the same way that music does for, I think, a lot of people. Like dance does that um just as much for me, I think. It carried me through a lot of dark things, I
Yeah.
think. It's very, very healing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think people kind of underestimate just how big of a deal that is and how much your body holds on to.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's my release, physical, emotional, mental, everything.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good for you.
Absolutely. I feel like for people
Yeah,
who aren't dancers or who don't take class and haven't taken a dance class before, I feel like it's hard to explain what dance really means to you unless you experience it. And
yeah,
I feel like you can kind of verbalize it all day long, but until you experience it yourself, you don't really
yeah,
understand. And it is hard to put in words what it means to you. And it's honestly just like just dance and you'll know why.
exactly. It's so much fun.
I know. At the end of the day, it really is so much fun, and
Yeah,
you
it
see
brings
it,
so much joy.
yeah, at weddings and parties and
Yeah.
different situations where maybe people haven't taken a dance class ever, but like we as a community and as a whole, as a population, like we are like born to dance. We just do it because it's fun and it's joyful and it makes us happy. And you're
Hmm.
surrounded by typically people that you love and enjoy being around and sharing that experience with them. Um, so the last question I do ask my guests is kind of similar to what I had just asked you, but because this is the Decision to Dance podcast, I always ask why why you decide to dance. So what comes to mind when I ask you why do you make the decision to dance?
because it brings me joy and it's
Yeah.
my release.
Mhm.
And it's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to perform ever since I was a little kid. And something I wish I'd never given up on. As I got older, I started to realize how limited my thinking was back then because I was surrounded by people that didn't get it, that they weren't in this community, they weren't in the industry or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and it's such a great time now too, because there's so many people that are also getting back into it that are either in my age group or even older. Like you got Paula Ayotte and Kim Hale, and like there's so
Mhm.
many more other people that I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I agree. There are so many people of all age groups that
Yeah.
have been such an inspiration, I feel like, to
Yes.
the
Just getting back
world, but to the
into
to
it.
dancers.
Yes. Yeah. And just like knowing that's there. Like it takes the pressure off too, that like there is no timeline. Like you don't have to be a certain age to do this,
Mhm.
like you're just the limit that you think you have is just it's just an illusion.
Yeah.
There's all these people that are doing their thing, and I'm like, you know what, I can do that too
Yeah,
then.
so many
Yeah, so
possibilities
it's
for
great.
everybody, and I hate that
Yeah.
we do limit ourselves all the time. And I will say I'm very thankful that I do feel like the dance industry is changing as well, and I think that's
Yes.
helping out
Yeah.
everyone as well in terms of shifting their perspective and their mindset and their outlook
Hmm.
on dance and who can be involved and
Yeah.
what age you can be involved at, and it really, like, there
Yeah.
really is no limit at this point.
Yeah.
You can just
Yeah.
keep on doing it and do it forever, which is so inspiring, I think, for anybody at any age. And it does take that pressure off of, like, if you have those limitations, those limited beliefs of like, I can't do it, it's like, well, I bet you there's someone else in your similar situation who decided to do it and they're doing it. So it's like,
Mhm.
um, so so you can do it too. So I appreciate that answer, and I appreciate you taking the time to be on the podcast, Cyd. I was really excited when you decided to come on. Just knowing what I know about you and your experience with dance and working as a nurse and having that passion and care for people, I wanted to share just a little bit more about your story and who you are with other people. So thank you for being on here.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you all for taking the time to listen to today's episode. It means so much that you all took the time out of your day to listen to us, whether that was listening to us on your car ride to and from work, or as you're grocery shopping, or as you're cooking in the kitchen, or taking a walk outside. However, it is that you incorporate us into your life, we appreciate it more than you know, especially because we are a new podcast. So thank you for allowing us to have a little tiny part of your life. This episode was really a nice reminder of the joy that dance can bring in your life and how you can be connected to so many people just from dance. Even if you are surrounded by people you feel like that you have nothing in common with, and you can return to something that you love, even if it's messy, even if it's scary, even if you're going through a really hard time. Maybe it's a breakup, but maybe it's other things as well. And that you can cry and you can be emotional and it can be challenging, but if you just do it and keep going and take those baby steps forward, that messy process can become something so beautiful if you just keep sticking with it and not be afraid of allowing yourself to take up that space and try something new and put yourself out there. So, thank you all for being here and listening to today's episode. We will see you all in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.